Hi guys, today I'm going to be doing simple linear regression, chapter 15, problem number 15. So the first thing it asks us is to make a scatter plot of the data, which I have here, and you can see that it looks negative with a strong linear association. And if we look at our R squared, there's 96.8% of variation in browsing time can be accounted for in the age of the person browsing, which is pretty high. Next, they ask if we think the linear model is appropriate. Again, it looks straight, so I would say it is, but we can do a hypothesis test to make sure. Our null is that there is no linear association, and our alternative is that there is. So our t is negative 19.79, which is a really high value, so naturally our p-value is very low with less than 0.001, which means we reject the null and we can conclude that there is linear association between the two. Next, we want to find an equation, which is right here. I couldn't fit in the hat in, pretend it's there. Our intercept makes sense, 750, looks about right over here. It's going to be high because, again, this is a negative association, and then because it's negative, our slope is going to be negative as well. The last thing I asked for is our conditions. So, with a distribution model of the residuals, we can see that the graph looks about right, and our Shapiro-Wilks test gives us a very high value, which means the data is from a normal distribution. Next, we check for equal spread. And so with our studentized residuals by our predicted browsing time, we can see that there is no clear pattern. So I would say that yes, the equal spread condition is met. Finally, we look at independence with the time series. This looks about right. Nothing comes out of this blue line. And while this does look a little funky, I don't think it's any cause for concern. And finally, I added the unusual observations because I think they're important to look at. So we go back to that graph we looked at for equal spread, and we say anything above 2, which is going to be this value 6, is an outlier, and anything below negative 2 is also an outlier, which is the observation number 3. And then we're going to look at leverage, which is right here, the H browsing time and the age. And we found a number that anything above that is going to be leverage. And this value gets really close to it, but it isn't technically leverage. And that's, again, number 6, which is an outlier. Then when we look, Then when we look at influence, which is right here, we see this value looks very different from the rest of them, and that's also 6. So while 6 isn't leverage, it's both an outlier and influence and almost leverage. All right, that's all. Thanks for listening.